We go live again.
Still, your mic's still muted.
Alrighty, sounds good. Welcome back, everyone. We are back after a short break. Looking at game two, I think they're getting ready to get in their pick. Not too sure where they're at with that, but we'll be with you shortly as that goes in. Um, so,
Well,
any last
yeah.
about game one, Nathan, as they get ready for game two?
So we've got these two divisions. We've got the Premier Division and the Challenger Division. And the general thought is, well, the best players are in Premier. And let me tell you, there's some good players. But Challenger Division so far is not disappointing with excellent play. I saw some such amazing plays from both JD, J versus the World, Steve, such hot plays coming out of these teams. I don't know that the Challenger Division isn't going to be the most exciting to watch this season because the competitiveness that we see between these two teams, they were so even, they were so back and forth. It was really, I don't know, good and exciting Smite to watch.
I have to agree with you. We saw a lot of plays by a lot of different players. Definitely you're definitely right on that one. A lot of different players were rising up to kind of try and put their efforts in the right direction to really help their team as best as they could. And we saw a lot of the triple kill with Steve was I think one of the biggest plays of that match. I'd almost say it was the play of the match. But
Well, I'll tell you what, if they hadn't have had that in that moment, I think 5D's would have gone home the winner shortly after that. They would have had a lot of momentum. They would have been able to get things off of it. Pyro for sure, maybe Fire Giant right after it. Steve stopped that from happening and gave his team the chance that it needed to be able to bring it back, and bring it back they did.
bring it back they did. Game is loaded up, so we're gonna quickly have a we're gonna see what they all pick once again. Looks like they're going through the ban phase once again, so we
It
might.
could be that this is. Wait, are these the same bands? Wait, is this. This is the first game. No? No. I know what it is. I was confused as to who was on. Oh, I see. It must have been that the team that was supposed to be order side wasn't the team that was supposed to be in the previous picks and bans because they swapped sides, and that's why I was confused. I'm sorry you had to go through that with me all, but I think we're ending up in a better place together now.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so they're just gonna go back through what they did once again. Um. Yeah, I'm really interested to see this Uller Izanami lane. I'm not too sure how it's gonna go. I think both of them play well into each other in a way.
hmm It
If
really
this
comes down to how mechanically good is CL Woke with that Uller, because even good players can struggle with Uller. But if you hit that stun and you know the button combination, the up up down down left right BA start that's required for Uller to just one shot after that, you can delete your opponent. But if you miss that axe, if you don't get that opportunity, it's not a great time to go against an Izanami who's obviously building grit.
Yeah, definitely. And with a large portion of Ullr's damage coming from his abilities, having to dump that on the early waves can be hard to generate pressure unless you're finding those shots with the enemies near the wave. So
Mhm.
it can be hard for the little poke game, especially early game. But once he gets that transcendence online, he's starting to feel a little bit better. It's just getting to that point.
Well, let me tell you about the question that I have right now, and that's this Neath. Is it going mid lane? Because if you talk about hunters that can go mid lane, the short list is Neath, Uller. And so the question is, where is who going? Which one's going to be our carry? Which going to be our mid laner? Um, and actually, now that I think about it, because I know the people that are involved here, Optic Blaster on Neath is not a rare thing. And Steve likes to play all sorts of meme picks in mid. What if that's a Kabrak in mid and a Neath solo?
So I can't rule that out for the simple
Oh, as
reason.
if to prove me wrong.
Oh, but then they do it as you were talking about. So we are gonna see that Neath in the mid lane being piloted by none other than a non-Steve.
He's really good at hitting those Neath ults. Like, he doesn't seem to miss them.
Honestly, I've been practicing forever and I still can't hit them.
It's tough. It really is. Well, so here we got the new picks and bans completed between these two teams. Did the 5Ds do what they needed to do to change this around, or are we going to see a clean, easy sweep coming out of the Rabbits?
I don't think it's going to be as easy as it may be. I think this is going to be the game where they're going to fire back to prove something. I think getting Sean on the E set I think is going to pose to be a problem for the Rabbits. E set being a very strong pick right now. Lots of healing, lots of CC coming out of this god, and yeah, I think Dracul being on Baka might be a better change for him than the Circuit. So I think that there's going to be a lot to prove coming out from this team going into game 2.
What I'm seeing from the 5Ds is a lot of early pressure coming out of the Izanami, coming out of the E set. Baka can just go into farm simulator mode and gobble up as many minions as you can find. And we've seen how Jay versus the World plays. I imagine he'll do all right on his own for a while. And so it really comes down to, are they building this team to be able to shred objectives with the Ganesh ult, ESET ult for secure? Are they building this team to team fight? And what is Dracul's role going to be? Is it going to be the heavy dive? We saw a lot from the Circuit, and he actually did have some really sick plays towards the end. Not to count him out, he just got behind early and was having trouble being relevant in the mid game. But if that doesn't happen, and we see him get ahead with the fast farming Baka, it might be a whole nother story.
And that's just it. And especially with a Baka from ahead will be able to just outpour a ton of damage. Baka being a very primarily heavy pick right now in the jungle role, being such a good god. Also doing well in solo from what it looks like, from what I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Because just clearing wave and having sustain, and then building into kin size, all of those things are really strong right now. And so having that on your team in whatever role you can get it, really nice.
Definitely. And the Wheelik's gonna have some help as well from the Sobek being able to throw people for looking for that ultimate too. So lots of ideas to play with here going into this game. So
Well, I'm sure we're going to get started any minute now. So I guess maybe one of the questions is, what do you think about this meta so far? Is this something that we're going to see a lot more of? Are there going to be big changes on the horizon? I know a new patch has been announced. I haven't really gotten to check out all the details, but what do you think?
well, I know with the patch notes being brought out, I think it was today or yesterday or whatever. There's not too many changes by the looks of it coming. At least for me, I kind of skim it to see if it only affects my role. But by the looks of it, it doesn't look like there's too many changes coming. But I definitely think that we may see a rise more in more Devo heavy builds as I by the looks of it, it does look like Devo's Gauntlets is going to be getting nerfed or buffed soon. So
Hmm.
should be interesting to see. But I personally like the current patch since the 9.5 change. I think it's gone for the better. The first few games were a bit brutal because they felt painfully slow, but once you get used to it, it's fine.
It is, and I do like a little bit. I mean, you say slow. There were so many fights in this last game that we watched. I do like that there is a little more opportunity to scrap and brawl, and on top of that, teams can, if they play wise and if they're reasonably matched, take it to late game, and that's usually when it gets pretty interesting. And so I like that about it. I felt 9.1 was a real weird change, and I was having a little trouble adjusting to it. Once 9.5 came out, I was like, okay, this is starting to feel a little more intuitive for me. And so I appreciate the meta shift at this point, and from what I've seen, it's just getting better.
To agree with you there, and I think it can only get better from here with all the new changes they're making, with new gods on the way. I feel like they're also getting stepped in the right direction with a lot of the collaborations they're doing, with Smite also announcing a new. I think it's gonna be a battle pass with RuneScape coming in November. So
Yeah, isn't that interesting? A couple of friends of mine were just talking about RuneScape back in the day, and then Smite announces a collaboration. Boy, I tell you, I don't know whose job it is to think of off the wall collaborations for Smite, but if their job is to think of off the wall collaborations, they're killing it.
definitely, and I'm definitely interested to see what they're gonna do to to like put in RuneScape aspects into Smite. I have a few friends that play RuneScape still to this day, and they were talking about the fact that there's a Cerberus in RuneScape to see if they might make that a skin for Cerberus in the Battle Pass. So think
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I do like Cerberus, and I like seeing him in the solo lane or even support lane. To be honest, he's a good doggo.
he's a great doggo. There's tons of good doggos in Smite.
Hmm. Well, looks like we're just waiting for this spectator to kick up. Hopefully, it will soon. I guess as far as first game in the league, we're starting off with a bang. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more of these. A lot of these teams are pretty evenly matched from what I've seen.
Oh yeah, have to agree with that. As I feel like I'm going to be 30 by the time this game starts.
Maybe.
Still got another 4 years to go, so hopefully it doesn't take that long. But
You're but a child. You have your whole life to look forward to, and most of it will be this upcoming game.
yeah, and then copious amounts of back pain.
Yeah, there's lots of that. And there we go. And now we're jumping into it. I hope this doesn't take us too far into the game. It starts at the beginning. You never know with Smite Spectator, so I'm just
Look at
just bracing the audience.
look at all these diamonds. A 2-star is a Nami.
A lot of tryhards. Man, how
Dang,
embarrassed would I be if I had a lot of stars?
I know. Let's just not pretend like I have a 5-star Uller and 4-star Kurnos. But alas, that does not matter, as we are now loading into the match. As we are just waiting for one player apiece for both squads, as they are finally now loaded in. And the match is going to be starting as we kick in for game 2 versus Drastically Rabbits versus 5D's.
All right, here we go. Well, so the players are getting their items and they're about to get started. A little ground pound in the fountain with the comical emote just to set the tone. You got to think about camaraderie when you're playing this game. I know there's a lot of strategy and there's a lot of mechanics, but you got to also think about the interpersonal play of your teammates.
Yeah, definitely. And what better to start off with a ground pound from Fat Loki to get this game kicked off right now?
I would have liked to have seen a Loki and a Fat Loki in the same team together.
Yeah, unfortunately, don't think we're going to be seeing that jungle difference. A big favor of the Awelix, so as he does best. Goes for the beads here. No blink being opted, so by either jungler by the looks of it. Both
Oh,
just
interesting.
looking to do their thing. So
Going for the beads.
we also see a blink being looked at by the Sobek by Barry, so might be looking for an aggressive pluck
Mm-hmm.
off the get go as
Is, is that Blink already down?
doesn't look
Oh no, it's
like
his ward. It's his
yeah.
ward.
Yeah, so
I'm
he's
sorry. I couldn't not look at it, and for some reason couldn't look at the darn relic next to it. But yeah, Optic Blaster and Sobek both going for Blink, so they're looking for an aggressive early game. And I
so
think that's a good idea because we talk about Izanami having a lot of lane pressure. She doesn't if you're killing her constantly. So that's one strat to deal with an Izanami.
Through that, something interesting also to look at is this Mannequin Scepter being picked up by Steve in the mid lane with this Neath. So it's gonna find a little bit extra of a burn from her autos, but
Yeah, so it's good for the camp clear, and when you're in that like mid game phase of just trying to kill these tanky buffs and side harpies and such, it's really nice. You can appreciate it, but really, what that's about is Mannequin Hidden Blade. Because as soon as that Neath turns 20, she's gonna get Mannequin Hidden Blade and ult on cooldown and try and do 90% of your health with a single ultimate.
definitely early aggression coming out though. Barry is getting smacked down a little bit, so he's gonna have to pop a few pots to stay in this game. Fortunately, he has some heal in his kit as well, so he's gonna be
Hmm.
chilling for a little bit. Looking
A
towards
lot of
mid, not
yeah,
too
jockeying for
much.
position, just trying to figure out who's gonna make a mistake first.
That's pretty much all this. Spirit Ball coming out, doesn't find any connection. Axe coming out as well by Woke, but isn't going to connect on that either, so is just going to go back to that old farming thing, stealing buffs and all that stuff, you know, that pre-level 5 kind of dealio on that, as JD going to go back to his max to secure those harpies, and Rabbit's getting pushed back on duo side too, so 5D's is going to look for that neutral camp on left side. Looking at solo, not too much. Is going to be looked at right there. Shield bash is going to be good from Jay, and this is
Optic
going to
so
have to be a little
low,
bit careful as we're
and
seeing
now the
a
2-minute rotation.
AD gank is going to find a knockup, is going to be able to find any autos for the feather step. Shield bash is going to be good, so he is going to be able to get to his tower back safely as JD going to tax the wave and kind of just chilling solo. As we're seeing on the other side, we're seeing a gank from Dracul looking for something. Is going to find the first blood onto Barry. So already, right off the get-go, a way better start for Dracul coming off the game 2.
Right, you are. That's what you want to see. When you have a tough game, you just get right back on that horse and you do it better. And he is doing it better. Shows up, gets the first blood, putting his team a little bit ahead, and hopefully going to do something with the momentum that this is starting.
Definitely. And honestly, top 5 guys you want to see get that first blood, I think Bach has got to be up there for sure right now.
For sure. Get your Baka fed. Figuratively and kind of literally, just give him minions. You know?
Yeah, just let him eat them all up. Once he gets
Just
that
like
golden
that.
blade too, but he's gonna find a pluck right now. Steve joins the party as well. Speed Arrow gonna find Dracul, but Dracul just gonna jump away.
Yeah, actually, really decent play coming out of the Dracul. Aggressive. We see the jungle invade. You can't out secure a Bakasura when it comes to jungle buffs, even if it's yours. So he's able to get that red buff, able to take away some XP and the value of the buff itself from a non-Steve. And so yeah, Dracul really doing his job of harassing the enemy team right now.
Yeah, Dracul doing great as well. Blink coming in off of Barry, but isn't gonna find anyone on the connections. So fortunately,
Oh.
Blink goes down for a little bit. And looking towards solo side, we're seeing a little bit of ground pound action on this buff, and Jay just kind of chilling, waiting for his turn. Is going to look to maybe try and stop the back though, but might have been playing too much with fire. Big shot and solo kill coming out for Optic Blast. Jay is going right back to base.
It was all a ruse. He tricked him into thinking he was backing, and then he stunned him in the wave, and that's all it took. Wow, good damage. Good damage.
Definitely the perfect bait coming up from Optic, really making Jay feel it, and you know, getting the 5 to 4 that early, that's really going to pose some problems right now if Optic wants to go and get aggressive again. Take it
Yep.
back over. JD decides to spend his time. World Weaver coming in is going to get jumped on. Feather Step being good. Regurgitate coming out, but is going to get picked off by Woke. So Woke finds the kill of his own. Early kill on the Euler. Never hurt anybody, but he's still getting chased back by Dracul. Dracul decides to give up and go back to his side as there's some farming to be done.
There certainly is. Lots of XP still on the map. Kills are good, but XP is better. So you just want to be able to get out there, get those leads. And now that Bakasura has a golden blade, I have a feeling that he is going to be doing a pretty good job in that department.
Definitely. This is kind of that golden blade is pretty much the gas pedal right there. Once you get that, sky's the limit. You're gonna be able to take down these camps so easy, as well as really stack up that passive for your ultimate.
Hmm. Well, Bakasur coming over to the right lane. I don't know if he'll be able to do anything to this very tanky Kabrakan, and Kabrakan doesn't want to find out, so he blinks to get out of it.
I won't be too upset about forcing out the blink. I think that's a small win in Dracula's eyes, so I think he's just gonna take that, and go back to try and secure this blue. Unfortunately, JD does get spotted out by Jay. Is gonna find the pull on the gravity surge. Feather step is good. Is gonna look for something a little bit more. See if they can't pick off Dracul, but Dracul's gonna get away. Suku jump is good off JD. Isn't gonna find much else though, and it looks like there's just gonna be a disengage from both sides here. Being changed. Here comes only one knot. Only one knot is gonna claim. Jay is gonna get the kill on the JD. Jump is being good off of Dracul. Is gonna look for something. Ultimate is good off of Jay. Does find the execute, and they're still not done there. One more done. Triple kill going to Jay versus the world on the Achilles.
Triple kill at 6 minutes. Look at the mechanics on this Jay. What a good setup though from the Ganesh, jumping in there saying, hey, if I hold this guy still, would you ult him? Jay says yes, 1,000 times yes. I've been wanting to hear that my whole life, and he just jumped on that guy. They fought it out. It went great. You love it. He said ult used, and there's another kill.
Sean gonna pick up one of his own. Feather step good, but JD is gonna claim off Sean, so Sean gets a very nice spear fall to very ultimate, be able to clear up his opposition, but then is gonna get claimed by JD, unfortunately. So JD finding a really nice return kill there.
We just got to point out that this is different from game one. This is the 5Ds taking the early lead. You know, they're having a lot of wins in these interactions. That's not to say that Rascally Rabbits aren't playing great. I'm sorry, just the rabbits are rabid rabbits. Our camera guy tricked me on this one. But the point is, they're playing great, but the 5Ds are getting an early lead, and that's something that they might be able to do something really remarkable with.
Definitely. We haven't really seen how 5Ds are going to be able to try and carry a lead yet in the sets. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can utilize here to try and push for their lead versus what we saw with the Rabbits from last game.
No, you're absolutely right. We've seen that they play on the back foot really well. Hopefully, they can do something when they've got an advantage.
For sure. Looking at
meanwhile,
JD right now.
Yeah, trolling in the jungle, just seeing who he catches out.
Trying to see. Looks like only one nut's found though, but is gonna hop back in the mid. Gravity surge is gonna be pulling. Is gonna look for one. Is gonna find it though. Optic Blaster finds one of his own. Sean manages to pick up Barry, and we might not be done there. A very low health Sean is gonna get claimed by jungle difference. So JD finds one of his own, and I think he's gonna be on the run.
Just a long-range Suku shot, clinching that kill. What a good mechanical play.
Definitely, and definitely finding a little bit of a buffs from both sides of the map. Very good on Optic Blaster finding the solo kill on Jay right there. So is going to put him closer. Pretty much dead even at this point.
Now it's just time to get your little chalices, charge up your obelisk, get as much XP as you can. Speaking of which, what do you think about the new trebuchet? Hot or not?
I kind of like it. I think it introduces something new, something we haven't really seen before, but something totally not crazily new. As you know, they're kind of like similar to the sieges that we saw if you played Siege, or even Slash, if you will. But I think they bring something new. I definitely also like the idea of picking up the chalices versus what we had to pick up before. Thought they were cooler, but also plays into the whole medieval thing they're going for. So can't really complain about that either.
I think it's thematically interesting, and one of the things that I like about it is that you get to choose when you deploy the trebuchet, and you can utilize that for when you want to have pressure to be able to potentially set up for an objective, or do a tower push in another lane, or even in the lane that the trebuchet is in.
Definitely have to agree with you here. Dracul is jumping in, gonna look for something on Optic.
Fights into it.
Is good. Baka is going to fight into it, though. It's getting a little bit... World We're going to come and pick up Dracul. A very nice pick off in on Steve. And Optic's not done here. Is going to be looking for the rundown on Jay. Decides to weave him out, though. Is going to look for one last hit. Goes to do a little ground pound. Isn't going to find anything off that. Pluck is going to be good right there on Barry, but I'll force ultimate out by Jay. So Jay right now might be able to live another day. Not too bad as taking a look at Woken. He's doing fine all by himself right now on duo side, but JD comes to join him.
Man, so the thing about Optic Blaster is he's double lifesteal already, 2 items in. He didn't even bother building a starter. He used that ultimate. He says, I'm not trapped in here with you. You guys are trapped in here with me. He got all that health back, fought it out, managed to get the kill with Steve's help. That was just amazing.
Definitely, and a really big hats off play too from Steve. Taking the shot all the way from mid, being able to find one to really just make it a 1-for-1 battle right now for Optic versus Jay. So
Yeah, really hitting that ult at long range. You know, it's impressive.
Gravity Surge coming out right for the Iznami is going to be cleaned up, no problem. ESET ult being used right after that. Doesn't look like it's going to claim anything as we're not done. Feather Step going in. Spirit Ball is good. Ain on Steve. Picks up the kill on Sean.
Wow, so that's 2 for them. They're in good position to potentially go for Gold Fury. I'm curious what the call is from here.
Looking good. World Weaver comes all the way for Jay, and that puts Jay really low, so...
My man's not scared.
Not scared
He's
of
walking
anything
up
at all.
with tens of health. Plenty.
Oh, definitely. Not looking too worried at all. Yeah, 226, 225 more than he needs, so... Oh, but he's got to be careful! Oh! But he gets the back off in time, and JD's edge.
The timing on that, you know, that you gotta say was predicted. He knew the Elix was coming. My man knew his timings. He's fine. Didn't even sweat.
Nah. Playing with fire, tempting fate. Call it what you will, but I call that purely calculated.
So the Rabbits have done a good job of bringing this back. They've taken the gold lead. They have a bit of an XP lead as well. And so while I'm not counting the 5D's out in the least, they've shown how well that they can play these interactions. It is to say that the Rabbits have done what they needed to do to not fall behind, and for that matter, turn things into their favor.
Definitely. Jump in from Woke, and is going to force Sweep Sense to retreat, but we're finding another solo gank coming out on the side. Dracul might look for something. Butcher Blades were activated, but isn't going to find anything on to Optic. So World Weaver coming out, though, and is going to claim Weave Sense from Steve. He's being a real pain with that World Weaver right there, so finds his second World Weaver kill of the game, and Steve's on fire with that thing. He's so good at hitting it.
He's got a fully stacked Transcendence. He's almost stacked his Soul Eater. This isn't even his final form. When he builds Mannequin Scepter, that is just going to be insane.
Definitely. It's a little exchange right there between Sean and JD. Spirit Ball to Feather Step, and it's going to find either side. Optic looking for a stun right now, going on the side of Jay. Gets the stun, is going to tremble him a little bit, but not going to find much off that. Very opting not to use his pluck. Doesn't look like he's too concerned on what he can find of it. JD is going to have to be a little bit careful there. A lot of people are surrounding him. Rejoins with Optic, so he's able to stay with the boys, but 3v3 looking like it is going to be forming right now. Dash going in from only one knot is going to be good. Cabral is forced to be used. Regurgitate is being used right after that, trying to shred as much as he can. There comes the Dharmic Pillars, and Dracul is going to pick up Optic Blaster as he goes down, and it looks like they're not done there. Sean looked like is going to find Barry, and JD right now sitting on their tower, going to have to be a little bit careful with that. But
what an incredible rotation coming out of 5D's. It really looked like it was going to go in the Rabbits' favor there at first, but the Pyro is called. I think this is a good call because after a fight like that, you want to get something to make it really count.
Definitely, especially when you have such good clear with that Baka right there, hitting it pretty hard. Sean doing some damage as well, so honestly, it's not that surprising how fast that goes down.
And just like that, it's an even game.
Yep, nothing whatsoever. Look at that duo side, little throw on the side of the look, but doesn't find Weep Sense, so he's going to be able to just kind of chill on his side, keep farming it up. All these blades.
Something I like to point out, it's an even game, but as soon as that tower, that's literally 1 health, goes down, That's going to be a big win in the case of 5Ds. They're going to be getting enough gold from that to start to put things in the case of a lead. So they have what I call a hand grenade lead,
Unless, here we go.
Oh,
Achilles ult is good. World Weaver coming up. Optic is going to look for the final hit. Blink going in, and it's going to be good enough to find Jay. Kill being claimed by Optic.
Optic was not going to let that go. I think Jay played that just as perfectly.
Big Blink's Gravity Surge is going to pull off. Ricochet is being used, but is going to be claimed up by Jungle Difference. And the fight is not done there. Jump going in, but the Izzy is going to dash her way out to safety. So is going to be fine in that regard. Looking like they're going to be invading the 5D's purple buff, as well as minions going to be taking down that right side T1 on the side of the Wabbits.
Well, things were even for a minute, but they're not anymore. Rabbits squarely taking a lead. 4,000 in XP, 2,000 in gold. They potentially get another tower here, and maybe even go for the Gold Fury. They have the initiative.
Might be a fight coming here, though. JD comes from the back, flanks him, and is going to pick up Weep Since. And it does look like they're done there. World Weaver coming in, is going to hit up only one nut. JD is trying to stay on, but here comes Sean. Axe going to hit Sean right there. Sean drops the ult. Darwick Pillars is also dropped. And Sean is going to pick up Woke and completely explode him. Does look like they're done there. Sean claims up a double as well. And does look like Sean's done whatsoever. Aegis being used to protect him, but is going to have to try and get away from us. A beautiful Spirit Ball is going to find a triple kill for Sean-tastic. Jungle Difference is going to pick up Dracul, but Sean is still alive.
Wow, I cannot believe it. Oh, but it's not over yet.
Oh, it finds a Spirit Ball. Jungle Difference is going to find the Feather Step to finally pick up Sean. He goes in the dirt, and it's going to be a 2v2 right now. Steve is going to find the backflip, but Jay comes in from nowhere and is going to claim Steve for himself, and JD is going to be forced to ride away in the distance.
Wow, well, if you're keeping track as the bodies were hitting the floor, that was 4 kills for the 5Ds. Only 2 deaths on their side, so I think they won that squarely. Jungle Difference did manage to get a good pickup, but he needs to be careful because if they catch him out, that makes it really in their favor.
Definitely, and if there's anything we've seen from JD before, it's that he loves to play with fire, so definitely has the technology to get himself out of a lot of these situations, but eventually he's going to run out of luck.
Yeah, my man has no fear, but sometimes you should be afraid.
Definitely. Looking like 5D's looking to try and set up maybe for this Gold Fury coming here, but Barry is on the case.
At least they've got it well warded, and I think there's something to be said for that. Optic Blaster trying to just harass poor Dracul. Oh,
but World Weaver coming in is going to force the Regurgitate. Ajax also coming out is going to find the Cabra ult, but Jungle Difference is going to secure the kill on the Dracul, so going to send him back for another 30 seconds.
Dracul played that as well as I think a person could have in that situation, used the very short CC immunity that Bakasura has, but against 3 with that much expended, I don't think there's anything he could have done.
Yeah, Jay for the world getting a nice little kill right there onto JD. And looking back, we're back in the mid fight here as Sean putting some damage out with that Wind Gust is going to find a little bit of damage onto Woke, but isn't going to find much of that. Spirit Ball is good, is going to hit parry, but isn't going to find a whole lot of damage off that. And looks like this might just be a stalemate in mid lane.
I think you're right. Question is, are they going to go ahead and position around Gold Fury with the advantage that they're getting?
Not entirely sure what they're looking for. Maybe a pick, but doesn't look like there's going to be much of it. Steve is in his charging position. Is Fuzz fine? The ult is going to look for something, but is going to get ohmed out of that pluck. What a very good ohm coming out from the side of only one nut to protect.
Absolutely. That silence definitely saved lives.
Definitely. And what a heads-up play by only one nut being able to really get a whole lot of value out of this connection. Look at them sitting perfect support stats, 0-0-12. But Sean is in trouble there. Sean is going to get claimed by Anon Steve. So Steve's going to find one first. Gravity Surge coming out, pulls the Ganesh, but the Ganesh goes back in. And Dracul finds Barry. And it does look like they're done there. Barry might have gone too far. Diamond Pillar is being dropped. Steve is going to pick up only one nut for the double kill. Optic Blaster goes in. CL Woke is going to pick up Dracul. Feather Step is going to be able to evade the ult from the Achilles, but they're still not done there. Izanami has joined the fight, is getting absolutely chunked by Woke, and Woke doesn't even look done. Woke looks like he's ready to go back in. World Weaver is good and is going to claim up Weave Sin, so Anon Steve manages to find another kill for himself off that fight. Is going to look for an axe check at the back of tower for Jay, isn't going to find them, so they're going to be looking at this Gold Fury.
Absolutely, and what a good call that is. That was 4 for 1. Barry already up because he died so early in that fight, so they've got all that they need to do the damage. There's no way that the 5Ds could defend. This is them taking that initiative even further and trying to get what they can to stretch out their lead.
Definitely. Jay looking for trouble, though. He is a lone warrior right now. He's going to get the block into
it.
the gravity surge. And ult no good. Isn't going to be able to find him. Does find the knock-up off of Suku, but is still looking to walk away. Is going to get some help with Sean. Spirit Ball is no good, but is going to go in for some damage. Wind Gust is good, doing some damage onto this Uller. Uller going to have to jump away, and it's dangerous here. Feather Step is good. Might be able to claim up Sean. Sobek ult is going onto the water. Isn't going to be able to claim Sean just yet. Sean is super low, but World Weaver is going to claim up Sean off of Steve, so Steve's going to find one for his own, but might be able to dispel just off that alone, as JD is going to head back to his side of the jungle, but he's getting walked at by Jay, so Jay might have something else that he's not, a conversation he's not done with yet.
Well, after getting that Gold Fury and that pick, if they don't lose too many here to Jay's excellent play right
Jay
now.
blinks in, but
oh, he was saving the ultimates. I think maybe he saved it too long.
JD faster on the jump, and 5D's claims Pyro with all that pressure, but is going to be a little bit careful. Manages to ult out, getting a nice 2-man stun, and is going to be joined up. I only want not to be able to ohm him out. Axe no good. Izanami ult is coming through. Karakan ult is coming through again, and is looking to try and finish off. Barry is going to claim Jay versus the world, so Jay is going to have to sit out for a little bit as they're looking to probably reset off this. Don't think there's going to be much else for them to ward up fire, maybe see if they can do fire, but as only a regular fire giant might not be too bad of a call to make. It looks like they are going to pull it on the side of the Wabbits, so
yeah, interesting. I think that there's a little bit of a coin toss to this. Jay obviously sussed him out. Izanami coming into position as well. The Sobek is taking a lot of damage, ignoring just about every knockup. Optic Blaster gets a kill on Sean, and Steve gets a kill.
Dracul also gets a kill on Barry, but actually got stuck right in the ring of fire with Steve's Spirit Arrow, so he just got taken away to death. And Fire Giant goes the way of the Wabbits, as Optic Blaster also gets a kill on Weave Since, and does look like he's done there. Feather Step is good. Jungle Difference is going to claim up only one nut, so he's going to have to go back to base on top of that. And that's a 4-kill spree on the side of the Wabbits.
Oh my gosh, well, it is Jay versus the world again versus the world. I don't know if he'll be able to stave the tide now that these guys have the Fire Giant. A lot of towers up, that is his saving grace. At least the Phoenix isn't down at this point.
Definitely look like they're heading towards that mid T2. And looking to claim that. Maybe you might see just them chaining up T2s here, or if they're going to want to look for something else here. Looking like they might just be looking to invade their left side, maybe push up left. See what they do there. Everyone will be standing tall, though, on the side of 5Ds to defend this left side Phoenix. Oh, but something that I don't think Jay's prepared for. They've spotted him out at that green buff. Lots of damage getting towards. He's about half. Is going to get Caber ulted. It is going to be taking a tumble, but is going to be able to get out. A lot of damage taken, though, so might have to reset before this next push, which looks like he does do. So Jay head back to base. They found what they wanted. They're content with dipping out and just clearing up more of the jungle, and not much else to say other than that. The Wabbits are pretty much their ahead. They're running it down, and they're doing what they do best.
They really are, and they're doing it well. I think that the 5Ds have put up a really good defense in a lot of moments, but these last couple of fights just haven't gone their way, and the Rabbits are just picking up steam based off of that. And if they keep doing this, it's going to be game over soon.
Definitely, it's going to be scary. As well as big highlights right now to JD and Steve making big splashes with a 9-2 slash line on the Wheelix, 8-2 underneath. Steve charging up, looking to see if he can't sneak something As shot gets launched, is going to try and find something, but is going to get face tanked off by only one nut. So Dracul gets to live to see another day for now.
Yeah, he does. Well, hopefully they don't get caught out and manage to just take good fights. We've seen that their defense can be really good. Um, they just need to play to their strengths at this point.
I have to agree with you there, and they're gonna have to be a little bit more cautious of what's happening as well, as I feel like they're exposing themselves to being picked pretty easily, as they're just not really grouping together. I feel like one is trying to go for a buff with no vision, so they get picked off
Yeah.
just that
It's
easily.
tough when you're behind. You want to get all the XP you can, but when it gets to this stage, you just got to get the team together. You got to pick one thing and do it in concert. Otherwise, the team with the advantage is, well, they've got the advantage.
Yep, have to agree with you there. Spirit Ball coming in is going to find Optic, but not much really else. He's still standing pretty tall. JD going to be doing JD things, trying to. But here we go. Fight is being locked on right side. Regurgitate is going down. Is getting completely deleted by Woke, and Woke's going to go down. Weep Sense is going to claim up Optic. And Barry is going to be in a little bit of trouble too, as he's low as well. Is going to try and turn the tides here, as Woke is doing some damage. Gravity Surge is going to try and pull off Weep Sense, but is going to beads that out. So is going to be safe from that. JD is going to have to jump away to safety, but is still being chased down by Jay. So Jay is going to be blinking in. Looks for the shield bash. Fair Step is good. Looking for the ultimate. Is going to find the execution on Jungle Difference. So Jungle Difference is going back.
Day 6 and 4 doing so much work. Top of the player damage. Oh, he's not done yet. He is chasing down CL Woke, but the stun is good and the jump is better. He's getting away for sure.
Definitely no blink already being used by Jay. No dash as well up for Mr. Only One Nut, so is going to have to let him walk for now, but won't be gone too far. Seeing that Mannequin's Hidden Blade being picked up by Steve, just doing absolute work right now. Gold Fury being picked up by the side of 5D's is going to try and knock down that Primal real quick, as well as they're also looking at Primal right now, so.
They're bouncing it back and forth. This is a good way to do Gold Fury. If you're both low, but you got two ranged characters, this is how you do it. Textbook. And the Pyromancer, wow, they got both objectives in the space that they had. Barely an advantage, only one player down at the time, and they recognize that if they don't make a play now, they're going to be in hard time the next fight.
Definitely, and that's what I call micromanaging.
Oh,
As they're looking
Sean Spirit Ball.
Spirit Ball does secure CL Woke for Sean, so Sean goes up one there, manages the claim is right on top of that, and is going to rejoin the minions in mid, as he has a celebratory kill. As Jungle Difference does claim Weeb Sense, so a very nice pick for JD as well, looking like Barry also was in that mix too, so a very nice 2v1 kill for the Wabbits.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm hoping 5Ds can mount a good defense again. If they do what they did last time, even taking even and then sending the rabbits back with low health, they were able to call that a win. If they can do that again, then they're back in this game in such a way that I don't see a problem with them winning. If they can get a Lucky Dia side, they just run it down. There are a lot of towers that they got to go through, but at this point, the 5D's got to be thinking about endgame. They got to be thinking about win scenario. Oh, and getting caught out is not one of those things.
Definitely, Dharmic Pillar is getting dropped as well as the Circle of Protection, but Gravity Surge is going to be good. That gives Jungle Difference to kill over Dracul, and it looks like that there Spirit Ball is going to be good. Jay vs. the World picks up JD, and we're not quite done there, as Tail Whip is going to knock by some time for Barry, but not long enough. Shantastic is going to get Barry. As we see CL Woke and Steve maybe looking for some extra damage. Is going to find the nice little axe. Cabra ult is going to be dropped, but isn't going to be able to block any out. Optic Blaster is in trouble. Does get claimed by Weep Sense, so Blaster goes back, and it looks like they're going to be ready to try and find a little bit more, but...
This is amazing. This fight started with Dracul being kind of not in the best position and getting caught out by the rabbits. It turned into 3 of the rabbits dying, only losing Dracul. This was a solid win for the 5Ds.
Yeah, and I think Dracula's more than happy to take that trade any day of the week. As sure he goes down, but yeah, I mean your team gets 3, so who's really worried? Look at all
Oh my
that
gosh.
damage that Steve is putting out. Holy cow! The Spirit Arrow into a few autos pretty much just brings her down to a quarter HP
That
from
mannequins,
full.
all you got to do is hit 1 ticket damage, and it does a lot of work for you.
Definitely. Steve getting tons of damage output with this mannequin's hidden blade that he's picked up for himself, and Fire Giant being picked up. It is now enhanced, and
Oh,
so
the set ult comes out. They have committed. This
Dracula
isn't a
checking
bait.
no bait. All Dracula
Oh,
actually manages to get a pick on him, pick for himself. Seal Woke going down, so what a
that's big.
massive kill.
That is huge.
Definitely managed to sneak that one off of Wabbits. Don't even think the Wabbits knew that they were on fire and managed to burst that down real quick. So what a massive play by 5D's.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, being down a game, they need to win this to be able to make it a game 3. Otherwise, this is going to be a loss for them. They recognize the importance of this, and they are playing their hearts out.
Yeah, I know, and they're doing real great at that, playing the map pretty solidly, I'd say. We saw them part where they claimed the Primal Fury and the Pyromancer both at the same time, so that edged them back into it, and it's looking like that Fire Giant's playing a big case and why they're a little bit more up in gold right now.
That's absolutely right. The entire lead that the Rabbits had has swung into the favor of the D's. They are looking at it, with no disadvantage at this point. They're down a little bit of kills, but that means nothing at this stage. It's all XP and gold, with everyone nearly 20. And for that matter, being the XP leader, this is the D's game to win. They are in the position. They're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, and they're looking mighty fine while doing it. Looking like
They
I like the play they're doing here. It
Look at
looks like
this.
they're gonna go and
Yeah.
grind some T2s. This
How similar did that look to the play from the last game where 2 T2s were up, but they were going to go for left Phoenix? They didn't even take a second. They just immediately went to go to these towers, and that adjustment right there might be the difference that wins them this game.
definitely, and it's totally up to them if they have items to buy after this T2. They're gonna find a lot of gold off these T2s alone. So if they want to
Hmm.
reset and buy, I wouldn't even hate that. But looking
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
that's what they're doing. Looking like they're done with what they found.
Yeah, it looks like next to Gold Fury is Oni, and so potentially getting that Gold Fury with your new items, that's something you can take advantage of. Oni Fury really really impactful at this late stage of the game.
Definitely, especially if you can try and hold it out. So maybe you sink a Phoenix. You get a
Hmm.
Phoenix. Those only fire minions are real tanky and hard to
They
deal with. So
they are real tanky. The thing is, you have to respond to them, and that's part of what I like so much about the trebuchet. Getting a trebuchet right now would not be a terrible thing for the D's, for either team, but specifically, you put the Rabbits in the position where they have to split up, where they have to choose one lane or the other, and that's when you have an advantage. That's when things go your way.
I have to agree with you. The trebuchets force a problem and force at least one player to attend to it, and then taking away one player off a 5v4 fight and fire is going to make the difference.
Hmm. Well, we are about to find out. There can't be much longer left in this game. We are 33 minutes in. Fire Giants sitting on the 5Ds. They are now trying to decide what their positioning is going to be. They took the Gold Fury, per my advice, and so now it's just a matter of figuring out their next siege.
Definitely, and I think at this point they just try and push up all these lanes right here to the best they can. As we see, there is your trebuchet being powered up right now by the D's, so everything is playing into what they want to do if they can set this trebuchet up to do what they need.
Hmm. It looks like they're going to go ahead and pick up a Pyromancer. Pretty low value objective at this point. I don't even know if they're going to be able to have a chance to spend the gold or get the advantage of the speed buff. But if somebody does die and needs to come back into a protracted fight, you'd rather have it than not.
I mean, I guess they are going to get that value of it as we are seeing a whole whack of them. They're all backing actually, so looks like they are getting that big value as a lot of key items being finished right now. Izanami finishing off that Venomous Deathbringer. We're seeing the Mantle being picked up by only one nut. So we're seeing a lot of big, Toxic Blade coming out of the Baka. So a lot of important items being finished off right now by the
Hmm.
5Ds.
Absolutely. This next fight is going to be the decider. I can't imagine one team can solidly lose this next engagement and then stay in the game. Towers are down. We're down to just phoenixes. This is a enhanced fire giant. If one carry is left standing and there's a few on the map, then phoenixes are going down, and at that point it could be titans too.
Yeah, it's a very scary part in the game where one bad thing happens and everything flips, and that's definitely what I expect to see here, unless both teams really duke it out to the point where pretty much everyone is dead.
Hmm.
But
D's have substantial ground right now. They are in the position to be able to start this fire giant with very little contesting. However, they immediately drop it to go chase JD through the jungle. But he's a fast Awelix.
definitely there, and backflip being used immediately by Steve, so that's gonna force a little bit of endangerment for him. But he's pretty good at clearing the making a bigger gap, so not too worried there. Spirit ball
Hmm.
no good by Sean, so doesn't find anyone there. This is kind of the moment right now. They're really just looking for that one pick.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And one pick could decide the rest of the fight, especially depending on how much is expended to get it. Looks like the fire giant started again. It's a bait, but is it?
It doesn't look like it's a bait too much. Circle of protection going in. Gravity surge pull is going to be no good. Sean is going to pick up optic blaster. JD picking up one himself. Sean picking up another. And Sean getting a triple kill. Big kill right now on this E set, and they're not done there. Ganesh charge is going to be no good and going to find, but they are looking towards Steve right now. Spirit ball no good. Sean looking for the 4th kill. Aegis being used, and fortunately, will be claimed up by Dracul. And that's 4 down with Fire Giant up. So it looks like Fire Giant is going to be looked at as
Wow,
this.
with 4 dead, Sean is playing lights out. That triple kill was insane. I kind of thought that the initiation was entirely on the Rabbit's side and they were about to do something with it. Sean playing smart, not staying in the fire giant pit so that he doesn't die, using the long range of the spirit ball to help him clear it out. Oh no, but Dracul goes down. Oh god, they don't want to give this up. They do get it. They only lost Dracul. It's a little unfortunate that the Izanami isn't going to be able to get the benefit of that. I kind of wish that Jay had been there for that fire giant. I can see that there was a communication issue. Someone said, no, let's run it down. And someone else said, no, let's get fire giant first. You got to be together in a team. Whether you agree with the call or not, you got to do it together. Otherwise, both calls are bad.
Definitely, and very unfortunate to not have that enhanced fire on Weeb Sense or Dracul. But at least having it on Sean, so you can see a lot of output from that E set. But
Yeah, and for that matter, Jay, he's been playing really good. He's still top of the damage charts, although Sean really on his heels right now.
yeah, Sean really keeping it close too with that late game E set damage being so strong, and really just hard to counteract that. 11 and 7 right now on this E set, looking real strong at that.
I gotta say, with the Awelix 2 sitting at like 30,000 player damage, like really close to top damage as well, that is impressive play for the Awelix because it is doubling the Bakasura's damage, and Bakasura's been very impactful in a lot of these fights. But jungle difference on the Awelix is just crazy.
Definitely, especially like acknowledging that the Wheelix is more of a single target assassin, so being able to output almost 30k damage, that's a lot of single target, pretty much.
That is.
It's a lot of feather steps, a lot of Suku throws. The jumps too are all very single target, very lucky if you can make it multi-target kind of thing. So
Needs
that's
channeling the ult.
Steve looking for something. Goes for the world read. We're looking towards the mid though. Regurgitate going on towards JD, and JD's getting claimed back there. Cool, Jake, and what a big pickup for 5Ds.
Dracul getting the solo kill on JD, that is so big. And then they take out Barry. There's no front line for them left at this point.
Sean picking up Barry. Axe going to be no good as Jay is going to run it down. Dharmic Pillars is being dropped. Sean is going to pick up CL Woke, and they're on the backside as 5Ds looking like they're going to claim this game as they're looking to pour into the Titan room. 2 Phoenixes down, and it's all going to be 5Ds right now as they go in. Ohm gonna be good. Isn't gonna be good enough to get rid of Steve's backflip, but they're going right onto this Phoenix. Minions are pouring in as well. Shell is being used. Izanami ult is good. Getting the knock up onto Optic, and Optic is gonna get completely blown up by Jay, and Titan is going down. 5D's taking game 2.
The 5Ds bringing it back, having the counter punch. You love to see it. We're going to a game 3, and we are going to see who wins between these two colossal teams.
Definitely going to 3 is definitely something we weren't really too sure if it was gonna happen, but I feel like I definitely called the game 3 before
You know,
the
it
set.
rarely happens. Usually the team that wins first wins second. There's not a lot of times that you see the other team make the adjustment, but these two teams are so evenly matched, and we're seeing such good play out of them. It's anyone's game right down to the last minute.
Definitely, and I mean, if you're on the side of the Rabbits, maybe you're feeling a little bit cheesed because I feel like they were running it for a good chunk of that game, and then we saw this switch, this kind of the kind of flip in which the 5Ds were able to take it all back. They found their wins and they were able to run with it. Right, they were able to take the objectives pretty much side by side for a few times in that game, and
Ooh,
I
the
think that was the difference
ESET
maker.
ban. That is definitely saying that they saw that Sean Tastic was effective with that. That's not something they want to run into again.
And I have to agree with them. That E set was a problem. He was able to pour out constant damage, a lot of damage, and getting it taken away is definitely a decision I'm definitely okay with. On the terms of the other side, we're seeing Kabrakan being taken away by Optic, Tiamat also taken out, and a very safe Kali ban as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't want to see a Kali not in your games. She's doing a lot of work right now, and it is a difficult time. But was that a Bakasura ban? I think they are very much acknowledging that what won them the game was the Dracul Bakasura and the ESET mid.
Definitely, Dracul was able to be doing some big things on that Baka, being able to take 1v1s with JD at the end there, being able to claim him was pretty much the difference maker between pushing and not pushing, I feel like.
I see what happened there. Jay versus the world is, you want me to first pick Jingwei for you? Hey, I'm picking two. Can I pick her instead? So they decided to prioritize the Ganesh, which they decided was very effective, piloted by the only one nut. And then Weeb on the Jingwei. I feel like Jingwei is such a good place right now. It's a good character to be playing. As long as he doesn't lose the 1v1 fights to the Uller, which is something that Uller really is strong at. The team fight presence of Jingwei is really great.
Definitely, and I'm definitely a big fan of running back this Ganesha too, because I think it did such a good job last game, with the Dharmic pillars primarily being such a big use of zoning, pouring out tons of damage too. I think Ganesh did it real good last game, and it's kind of good to see him here again.
Hmm. Yeah, seeing the Ganesh, seeing the Jingwei, I think this is going to be a strong dual lane. We've seen a lot of good performance out of them. I'm really curious to see what we're going to have in the solo lane, and I suspect that Shock is one of those things.
Yeah, some I haven't really seen too much of Chalk recently. He's been kind of this more, always the safe warrior. You think doesn't really win lane, doesn't lose lane. He just kind of does his thing. He does damage and then heals. Um, but Mercury getting picked up for jungle difference. A very big auto attack jungler. Really good at using crits. So obviously Merc's going to be a heavy favorite in that regard.
Hmm. The one thing about Mercury feels a little bit feast or famine. I will say that we obviously know that Mercury is a late game god, but he also has a lot of advantages in early where he gets to move around fast, he can grab you, displace you, throw you on a tower when it really matters. So there's a lot coming out of the Mercury.
Definitely, and honestly, it feels like once he gets that first speed item online, he just becomes a NASCAR for the rest of the game. So I don't know, he's definitely hard to catch, and honestly, another guy I see JD heavily, favoriting, as he really likes those scenarios where he's like 1v4 on the enemy side jungle, where he can just do his thing, maybe trade or do some of his typical stuff, and then just leave at the last second. So I think Merc
Yeah.
fits the bill for JD for what he's wanting to do.
Yeah, get in, get out, be slippery, be in a terrible position, be at their back green buff, uh, get a kill, and then get out scot free with your ultimate or your dash or your whatever. That's very much the JD special. Mercury is great at doing that, but also any coordinated team can shut a Mercury down just because he hates CC.
Yep, definitely. And I don't know. Going into our next band phase here, we're seeing Emoji getting taked off by the 5Ds, as well as we're seeing Agni taken away from the Rabbits.
We are. I think that that's interesting because we've got the Agni ban and the ESET ban, and the Persephone ban. There's a very clear. All right, Sean. What else are you good at? They're very much acknowledging the impact that Tastic was able to have in those last fights, and so we're gonna see if he's got something else that he can pick up that's going to be significant like that.
Definitely. I like this run back of the Kakulin too, coming from Jay versus the World, and Nemesis getting picked up by Dracul is going to be a big pickup. Still like seeing your auto attack type base, but really good at shredding these really tanky players. So going to be big use for going up against that Chalk and whatever support they also look to draft. But Olaran getting picked up
hmm
from the side
So
of Rabbits.
Anon Steve, kind of a premier in this league, ADC and mid player. And I feel with the Neath, with the Oleron, you're kind of seeing that he is doing both, like literally picking them both up. And assuming that, Mercury's obviously going to go crit, they're going to build a spectral armor. You can't spectral Oleron's crits. So when it comes to his late game, his auto attacks, they do a ton of damage, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it except for eat that damage.
Definitely. And Olo being able to get away with that is a big plus for them. Also having the magic damage never hurts either. Pretty much having a very nice spread out squad. I also like the Capri pickup too. Offers a lot of peel also with the res that Capri has with that Scarab's blessing is gonna be a big difference maker too in a lot of these fights. No executes from the side of 5D, so they're not gonna have to worry about that too much, as Column's already locked in, so the Achilles won't really be seen here. But we'll see what they're looking to pick up for their mid laner Sean. With
Yeah, the anticipation is palpable.
definitely think he has a lot to offer still, with a lot of decent
Yeah,
mids still
who
up.
would you like to see if you were on the team looking for a mid laner to round out the team?
Holy cow! I don't even know where to begin.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you what I would pick just to go with the Ganesh, and that would be Poseidon. You drop a Ganesh ult around the enemy team, you throw a Poseidon ultimate, the Kraken. Scylla definitely hits some of those markers. Lots of big damage. In fact, a Scylla Crush just about as strong as a Poseidon Kraken. And that's not even the Scylla Ultimate. And if I remember correctly, Scylla is one of Shantastic's premier gods. He has the most stars on Scylla out of any god that he plays, and considers it to be one of his signature picks. I am really looking forward to seeing this.
How can it be a premier god if he's in Challenger?
Well, I'll tell you how. Sean is just that good.
Damn, really taking it up a whole level on that. As we're gonna see how this Scylla works. Definitely think it fits a lot of the bills you were talking about with the Kraken, especially if Sean can find some of these resets on the I'm a Monster. So
hmm
definitely excited to see if this Scylla can do what they're ever so hoping. And I'm really interested to see how this Nemesis plays out for Dracula as well. Think there's a lot of good to be uh, to be seen in this upcoming match.
Another thing that's good about the Scylla into the Oleron is that Oleron ult is a big team fight ult that really can change things. You're slowed, you can't get out, you're CC'd for longer, everything is just awful all of the time. But when you hit your ultimate as Scylla, you're CC immune, you get to maneuver out of that as quick as you please, and then dump a whole lot of damage into one particular spot. And so I think that might have been part of the thinking about it. It's like, hey, is Scylla good here? Yeah, she really is. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out. These two teams have really good, I think, team fights. The Kepri on support is going to be able to let Jungle Difference just do what he does, get in there, make head ass plays, and then get saved, get rezzed by Kepri. That's going to be epic. And then he can just do it again. Nothing's better than saving a guy with 1 HP as a Kepri and then watching him dive right back into a team of guys. But at least one time this game, JD is going to do it. And he's probably going to get 2 or 3 kills off of it. So that's that's how it could go for the Rabbits. They've got a real good win condition with just getting to late game and letting Oleron Mercury do their thing.
Definitely. And we're gonna see if they can really get that done, if they can be able to execute what they're looking for to really give them the best overall showing here. I
Mm-hmm.
definitely like the comp from 5Ds here. I
I'm
think
going to
I
agree
favor
with
that
you.
a little bit more. I
I
like
really
their
do.
comp.
I love Jingwei. I love Scylla. I think they're very good. If I had to pick a top jungler, I think Nemesis is on the short list of my favorites. Kukalin's a great solo laner. Ganesh is one of my favorite supports. I would even go as far as to say this 5D's team is me just picking my favorite gods. It's great. And they're all in meta. They're all in fashion right now. And so there's a lot to be said for it. The one thing is about the Rabbits team comp is they've just got a good team comp. It's a lot of a lotness. You can get the Oleron ult that slows people and just makes things difficult. You get the shock ult that silences for 4 seconds. It's ridiculous. Kepri res just when you think you got a kill, you don't. And then for that matter, Uller and Mercury, just the kings at deleting one particular player. So we got really good team comps out of them. I'm leaning to 5Ds, but I don't want to count the Rabbits out for a second.
Definitely not. It's just something with the 5Ds comp that seems just like more methodical to me, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
know how they're gonna fight, and I don't know. Maybe it's just something about knowing what to expect. Just kind of excites me to see if they're gonna pull it off, as cleanly as they possibly can, as
Yeah,
well as
the
the
combo of a Ganesh ult into a Scylla ult, like who survives that? If you're walking on a crush and you're slowed, and then you're slowed by Ganesh ult, and then you get Scylla ulted because you can't miss a Scylla ult when they're standing still, like that's just going to be huge. Um, I I really am curious to see if they execute on what appears to be the plan. Like you draft a team like this, it really does seem like there is a plan involved. I do think that the Rabbits are drafting more for a hey, I'm good at this god. Hey, I individually plan on performing. I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna 1v1 somebody or I'm gonna beat somebody. And I kind of wonder what's gonna work out better. I will say, for people queuing ranked, if you're in bronze, if you're in silver, and you're a good mechanical player, you can play that way. You can go in there and you can 1v1 as many people as you can find and just carry the game off your own mechanics. As you get into the higher levels, and I kind of feel like this team, even in Challenger, these two teams are at the higher levels of competitive play to where you've got to be a team. You've got to be organized, you've got to play together, and you've got to be in concert. The 5Ds nearly threw that game by having half their team on Fire Giant and one of their team members at Phoenix. They were able to recover, they were able to get it together, and that's good on them. But any little misplays like that can be punished. And so that's why I'm wondering what's the execution going to be like for these two drafts?
definitely. And I think the biggest thing is biggest thing for me for the Wabbits isn't so much jungle difference performing. It's how this Oleron off of Steve is
Mm-hmm.
gonna use these sanctified fields. I
Yeah.
think I think it's gonna be a big team fight tool that can really pop off, but if they're not used correctly, it's gonna pose a big problem for the Wabbits.
So I consider myself a mid main carry main. I like those roles. I like playing those gods. They're just more fun for me. And two of the mid gods or I should say mages, that I play that I struggle using the ultimate effectively with is the Morrigan and Oleron. There's so much more you can get out of Oleron ult if you time it well, if you position it well. And frankly, I think that it requires good planning, good understanding of the god, good understanding of the kit, and great map awareness. And so, seeing if this Oleron ult really has the impact, that is going to tell the tale, isn't it?
Definitely, because it's kind of like your gateway, your door for so much potential. If you're able to get like a big sanctified field, you slow the entire team. That opens the gate for a massive sonic boom coming from jungle difference, or you know a big chalk ultimate coming from optic, or woke being able to dive in, axe someone full combo them, and try and like just completely burst someone down.
Yeah, talking about Oleron's kit, he has the attack speed stem in his two, and he's able to overcap his attack speed once he uses his ultimate because he just moves faster. So, like, seconds are faster. He's still 2.5 a second, but a second's less than a second. And so he's shooting more autos. It's just science. Look it up. And so he's able to shred Gold Furies, shred Fire Giants with the best of them. But he really has to get to that late game to be able to utilize it.
Definitely, and I think that's going to be the biggest question mark here is to see how Steve can really pilot this god to try and give his team the edge here. As seeing a lot of these builds coming out, we're seeing looking like Chalk going the Transcendence route early, going off Optic Blaster with with that Bluestone Star. Death being opted for Steve on the Oleron, also going with that tiny trinket too. So going to be
Hmm.
going into just more healing off that
What
as
did you think about the Uller last game? Do you think it merited another pickup in this game?
I think Woke did some good things on it. I think Woke looks extremely comfortable on the Euler. I think he's really feeling it, and if he's feeling it, why not give it to him again? I think I think it did well. I expect to see very similar things this game, where he might not be able to do much towards the early game, but once he hits that mid game where he's got trans and a few pen items online, I think he's gonna have no problem putting out that damage.
I think you're right. I think that he plays it really well. And the one question I have is, you win a game with the Medusa, you lose a game with the Uller. Why not go back to the Medusa? Is it possible he would have been more effective with that?
I definitely think that there's definitely that potential where he would have been more successful with the Medusa, but I think it all just comes down to what the player is feeling. And I think if Woke is feeling that the Uller was a bigger success than the Medusa, then I see no reason for him to run it back again. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing here in Game 3.
Well, there were a couple of times that he got those long Uller stuns. He hit an axe stun off into the distance, and if in this case, if Mercury is able to close the distance and do something off of that CC, do something off of that setup, that could be big for them.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you. Going towards duo side, we're seeing pressure being popped down a little bit more for the Wabbits versus the 5D's. Axe going in, gonna find Jingwei, gonna find a little bit of damage as well on top of that. So a very nice axe stun right off the gate for Woke. And we were talking about if this is gonna be how it's gonna be for Woke. And I think the first hit on the axe on the first axe of the game, I think might tell you he might be looking pretty good going into this.
Yeah, absolutely. He clearly wants us to know that he heard us and he's got something to prove.
Definitely. And it's hard to really argue with that. Or oracles are being looked at by the 5Ds to get that gold vision, more so for the farm versus the vision at this
Yeah,
point. But
early oracles definitely for farm, but man, they're worth a fair amount. It's they hit hard, but you definitely want to get that XP if you can.
definitely. And we're seeing the neutral left camp being looked at by the Wabbits as Optic Blaster being pushed on her tower a little bit low towards Jay versus the World. A very strong pick. We've seen him play this Hakon a few times already in this set, and why not run it back again? As he's been doing great on this god, in my opinion. Chalk teleports through, but isn't gonna take too much other than a few autos from Jay, and that'll be the most of that.
Hmm.
Wow,
Well,
it's
let's
looking at
see.
stealing some farm here. Not too much really to report here. You're seeing our normal farming setups here as we're going here.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
I just got to point out, in the very first game, 5Ds were lagging behind in farming at this early stage. This time, not so much. They're doing a good job, and the three-man rotation comes early.
3-man rotation. Dracul doing the same thing he did last game where he found the first one on Baka. Unfortunately, not gonna have the same success as Nem, so is gonna get out of there slowly and early. Is gonna join up. We've sensed for his
Is
progress.
that the difference from game one to game two? Is Dracul was really relevant in game two?
I think so, yeah. I think Dracul was a more of a factor in game two than game one. Game one he had a really rough showing with the Circuit. I don't think it was his fault. I think he played into a rough matchup where he got in, was able to do his stuff, but wasn't able to get out because of the lockdown.
Hmm.
I think game two he was on something that didn't have as much struggle getting out. And game three, I think we'll see the same here. Nemesis having a little bit uh, more self heal with the shield versus the double dash. I think she'll be Dracul will be pretty safe in this one too.
I think so, and I think that Nemesis does a few things that are nice. That some junglers really aren't about setting up; they're just about doing the job themselves. Nemesis gets a big slow with the combination of her main damaging abilities and protection reduction, and so that's basically like, here, guys, have this kill. She could chase it down herself if she got enough movement speed, and starting Golden Blade, she just might.
Yeah, definitely finding a lot of that with that divine judgment, being able to pretty much cut those protections right in half if you're Nemesis, and minus those protections, you're going to be slapping pretty hard. So definitely think Nemesis is going to be a very key pickup here for shredding this chalk and Khepri.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on the Nemesis. Dracul, I feel like doing a really good job standing in for Giants. Playing his heart out on a team that, at this point, just one team away from winning the set. First game, first game for the Challenger set, for the Challenger Division Season 2.
The Gold Fury has arrived.
Yeah, and I think he's doing a great job right out the gate here. Even this being a sub in for him, seeing how he's been playing, I think he's going to be looked at quite a bit as Colin is going to try and ult away for this blue buff, but is going to get claimed up by Optic Blaster, so very nice secure on him. But looks like we might be seeing a gank here. JD is on the way as he is getting help as well from Steve. Sanctified Field being dropped, looking for this first blood here. And as looking like he is going to get dropped, Jungle Difference is going to claim first blood from Jay versus the World.
Wow, did he last for a long time? Jay versus the World is so good at being able to just dodge between the raindrops. Like, there's a hail of damage coming towards him, and he's able to do the impossible, trying to stay alive. But ultimately, they were able to get him because that was a difficult position to be in.
Definitely a hard position to look in. I don't think you're too worried if you're Steve either, having to drop your ult for that either, as early game is just going to come back and you're not going to be fighting too much anyways, considering what Steve is looking to do here. So manages to find an assist out of it, and a very well rotation from Steve, maybe being the difference maker between getting that kill.
Yeah, it may have been actually. It certainly cut off an entire avenue. There was a chance that a Kukulkan could just barrel through one of those jungle paths, but not when he's slowed. Not like that.
Not like that, anyways. So hats off play for Steve, making the rotation to be able to be a part of First Blood, and definitely finds tons of value off that as well, as everyone else just goes back to doing their old farming thing.
Yeah. So we're looking at still a pretty even game, and that's with First Blood. So that tells me the 5Ds are doing their best to stay ahead in the farm game. Stacking items started for both both hunters, but Jing's already got 12 stacks on her item.
Definitely. Looking at Khepri, who's getting a little bit of trouble, but is able to get a little bit of help from JD to be able to get him off that. Still a crush going through. Doesn't look like it finds any part of Steve whatsoever, but not too worried about that whatsoever. Steve's gonna probably meet for that right side.
Sometimes you use a Scylla Crush just as a zoning tool. You're like, don't go here specifically.
Yeah, like, do this, but not like that, you know?
Yeah, you get it. Well, these solo laners are really putting in work for their teams. I feel like both solo laners are, near the top of their teams as far as an impact. Jay versus the World and Optic Blaster, a couple of Titans against each other, really been duking it out.
Definitely. I like the whole change up in builds we're seeing here for solos. Like we see the glide shield being picked up by Jay, but we're seeing a full transcendence being built with Optic. So Optic can be able to put a whole bunch of damage, but rotation coming up from Barry, going to be looking to try and get something on this column. The pull is going to be good, but here comes Nemesis. Then a very nice Cherub's Blessing coming out is going to save Optic Blaster. A very nice ultimate from Barry. Manages to save his life, but it doesn't look like they're quite done, as they might be looking for more, but not much at that. Looking at JD, JD going to be picking up a Chalice, and Steve right now is just kind of chilling in mid, not much to worry about. So, very hats off play. Wow, what a...
It really was. Seeing Jay go back in, it really looked like he was losing that fight when the initial gank came over. It was with a Khepri, so the damage wasn't insane, but, the CC into a full damage shock at this point, I would be worried if I were that controller. But he fights into it, he chases, he takes him closer to enemy tower, and then once he has an ally, they're able to get the kill, but they don't.
Yeah, so they fall a little bit short, and I think that more falls at the hands of Barry, having that super clutch Scarab's Blessing to be able to save.
Absolutely. That was just kill denial. I think excellent play from the 5Ds and an excellent response from the Rabbits.
As still stays at 1-0 apiece for the Rabbits, getting a really nice triple gank kill off of Jay when he was a little bit overextended. Then manages to get them, but still staying at 1 kill at that. And at this point, everyone's pretty much resetting, going back to their normal stuff. Nothing really too much other than that to report. I'm interested to see when we're going to see this Khepri use this horrific a little bit, as he did pick up a horrific for his first relic.
That's a good point. That is a, hey, we're gonna fight early and we're gonna try and get these kills early type of relic.
Definitely, and we're seeing a little bit of poke right there from that Uller coming out on Weave Sense, and he's gonna have to chill a little bit, but might be looking like they're going back at it in just a moment as these waves start to meet and duo.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it's just the jungle dance now, trying to pick up as much XP as you can, try and get whatever advantage you can.
Yeah, I definitely think both teams are playing this a little bit more passively this game so far, at least compared to the last game where we saw a triple kill at like 6 minutes. So I think both teams are kind of chilling out for now, just doing what they want to do, farm now and try and fight more later instead of fight now and ask questions later.
I find that a lot in the third game in a set when both teams have each won. There's a lot less all-out play. There's a lot more respecting the enemy team. You know what they're capable of. You know that they can play good. You're now at a situation where you don't want to be the one who makes an unforced error. So there's a lot more playing cautious from the beginning.
Definitely. A lot of cautious play. Uller stepping up, but is going to have to step back immediately as the Waves army gets a nice little axe, though. Might try and find at least a kill on Weave Sense. Isn't going to find anything yet, but playing a little bit dangerous here. Both Hunters getting a little bit low.
Both of them are. This is my favorite, when they're both low. Oh, and then of course here comes the jungle, not respecting the 1v1.
JD Sonic Boom coming in is going to find the dash, but Airstrike is being used to get out of there by Jing Wei, and she's going to be safe in that regard. But here comes Dracul. Dracul might be looking for a little reverse gank right there. Does find the ultimate for Nem, looking for that last slice of dice.
Does he have it?
And he slices the slice of dice. Is good and is going to secure CL Woke. Kill going to Dracul, but he is getting chased down by Jungle Difference. Might need a little bit of assistance. but is going to get the assistance he needs and is going to be able to get on out of there.
Wow. Oh, interesting. Did I see an Oleron ult? I think I did.
It looks like an Oleron was used, but doesn't look like anything
I
came out
think
of
he
it.
was using it to get there. He saw two very low health players in the middle of the lane. He probably thought that, especially knowing Jungle Difference, that Jungle Difference was about to go in for the play, and he was trying to get in there to assist him late.
Definitely. Dharma Pillar is being dropped to secure Jay's getaway, so a very nice defensive aggressive ult by only one nut, as Jay gets to kind of go back to the lane and vibe for a little bit. Pull coming out by the Kepri isn't going to find too much. Retribution being used is going to reflect some damage, but not a whole much to really secure anything out of that, and everyone else will just kind of return to their devices.
Run my bow. Always rejuvenates me.
There's not much going on. We see the full crit being started on the Rage off the Mercury, so it is going to be able to start stacking that with a few kills. Wind Demon getting picked up by the Jingwei, so crit coming off tap.
Yeah, second item crit feels real strong right now. You know, so definitely watch out for Ulers. They do a lot of damage. But you get a couple of fat crits just trying to trade autos. You know, the tone all changes at that point.
Here we go, though. This might be a problem here, as Nemesis ult is going in. Dashing is going to go, but unfortunately gets the axe stun off of CL Woke, so is going to have some time. A very big stun off of Kepri is going to get a triple stun, so CL Woke gets to walk away.
Yeah, he does. I'll tell you what, you know, again, still a very low kill game, 14 minutes in. The Ds have made the difference to be able to start to pick up a lead, and you like to see that. They've got the Oracles now, so they could be considering a Gold Fury if they start to win again. But just in general, it's not a lot of aggression. It's methodical play, and it's just looking for the advantages where you can find them.
Definitely. They're really slowing down the pace of this game versus the first two games, so I think they're a little bit more cautious in what they're doing, and I think we can see that in terms of only 3 kills and what's going on almost 15 minutes.
Looks like this could turn into a fight. The dash is used on the Nemesis. Big ult from the Shock.
Ult from the shot coming through, not going to find much. Nemesis is still poking through. Slice and Dice comes, but isn't going to find a whole ton of damage off of Optic. So he's just going to get to walk away. As Uller and Jingwei still playing their fun little games side of duo, but not much else. Is going to find a little bit of damage coming in as Nemesis is walking towards that Kepri, and all of them are walking towards Kepri right now, and Kepri is going to get picked off by Jay. So
Yeah,
Jay gets
that
a
is
little...
too bad. He did save the ultimate. He could have used the Kepri res on himself, but I think he recognized that even if he got the res, he would be in trouble immediately after.
Yeah, definitely. I think he knew he was kind of sitting in a rock and a hard place, so luckily did not opt to use his Scarab's Blessing there, which you see a lot of Kepri players do. So hats on him for saving the ult, so he won't have to wait for it come next team fight.
Yeah, and that is a good point about how you know, the Ganesh right here, demonstrating the silence that he has. Is one of the few counters that you can have against a Kepri res. If you can stop him from casting it, well then, there you go.
Definitely. What seems to be pretty much a direct counter pick, but might not even be seen like that in some forms, as Ganesh not really worried about zoning out the Kepri, but if he's there, he's there. I guess would be the best way to look at it. But we're seeing Jungle Difference going to play a little bit of pain, but it's going to get critted down by Weeb Sense, so he's going to have to go away right away. And oh, but a nice little axe stun coming from Ruler. Airstrike is going to be forced out by Weeb Sense, so he's going to be high on out of there, and looks like there's going to be some more members joining the party. Looking like they might be looking for a gank onto CL Woke, but not going to find much of it with a Kepri pull away and a nice little hug bug.
Yeah,
And
Speedy Uler's just too speedy.
Definitely. So Uller gets away, no problem. Darvik Pillar is being dropped. And they're going to be looking full on Sanctified Field being dropped as well. There goes the Scarab's Blessing on top
Wow,
of
he is
Steve.
fast.
And Steve is just high on
Between
out of there.
Oleron ult and Kepri ult. Still, it wasn't enough. He turned the fight, and I tell you, the Kukulin just said, that is exactly what I wanted you to do. He goes under that tower with no fear, cleans up and on Steve. Oh, but jungle difference and shock.
Big
Optic
fight
Blaster.
coming in though. Here they come, looking to try and chunk this Kukulin. This Kukulin is just running through everyone. Finds, but towards that left side, we're having a little bit more trouble. His Optic Blaster is going to clean up Weave Sense. So Weave Sense going to go back, and what a big fight coming up from this Kukulin. But looking like Jay fighting another one on the jungle difference.
Don't
And,
stay in laugh spam too long. They may catch you out.
CL Woke. getting a little-
Oh, my man knows his timings though, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he knows it to a
That one
T.
was for us.
You can definitely tell he's been doing this for a hot minute. So he's gonna come out 4 down on the side of 5D's. So not the fight they were probably looking for, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, that is definitely the Rabbits asserting dominance, saying, we're not out of this. We are going to go ahead and get back in this game. I imagine if we look at Golden XP, we're going to see that things are really even now. That, yeah, 100% erased the 5D's lead. Rabbits are not to be counted out at any stage. Cannot be caught sleeping.
Yeah, they aren't out. They're down, but they're not out quite yet. And I think that's where they're gonna have to still stay on their toes, because it's still anybody's game with 5-5 apiece. A little bit of exchange going towards the mid lane, but through that jump in. Looks like they're looking to start a fight over on Solo's side, as they're going to try and run down this Kukulin, but aren't going to find much of that, as he's able to just walk back. Free charge.
Yeah, it looks like we're just going back to our regular laning process with ganks over in the right lane.
Just our regular slap fight, as seeing that. Looking towards the builds, we see that Mercury, 2 stacks on Rage so far, finishing off that Deathbringer too. Chocold coming in as the fight is erupting towards the Wabbit's jungle. And a big fight coming. Here comes Nemesis. Alt is going to try and find something on this. Sanctified Field is coming in. Dark Pillars also dropped. Uller trying to put out as much damage as he possibly can, but isn't going to find much of that. A lot of damage trade, but nothing coming of it yet. Jay dives in himself. And Steve trying to put out as much damage as he possibly can. Still, Crush coming through is going to find a ton of damage there. Oh, a monster, but isn't going to fully find Optic. But Jay picks up Steve himself, and they're on the back tail, as trying to find, going to the back,
the blink
coming in from Jay. Jay going in, dumping
Are
in.
you kidding me, Jay?
And is going to try and find something, but he's taking a lot of damage. Does claim out Optic Blaster, but I don't think he's going to live to tell the tale.
He's not dead yet.
He's not dead yet.
Oh my
but
God,
the
there it
Woke will
goes.
claim him with the axe swipe, so Woke gets one for himself, and holy cow, what a sequence by Jay versus the world. Completely just going as far as he can around the world in 80 days.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Jay making that play seems green. It seems a little bit like inting, but it made so much space because they had to respond to that. Not only did he get the kill, but, you know, he took 2 members back to their Phoenix to have to focus on him to get him dead. That made plenty of space to get this first Gold Fury to go the way of the 5Ds.
Definitely. And forcing a problem, especially if you're just able to do that with one person, where, you know, another 3 people have to attend to just you, that's always going to be worth it, because you just allow your team to do pretty much whatever they want elsewhere on the map. May it be an objective, or, you know, buying some time for them to come fight, you know. Definitely there's always going to be something there. Red buff being looked at by the side of the Wabbits, so Steve gets some redoing damage. Trebuchet being launched. Still being a little bit low, being forced to dash out. Nemesis ult is going to be looked at towards JD. As JD Sonic booms out, so he's able to get himself to safety. Unfortunately, having to drop the ult to do so, but it is what it is. As,
Isn't it?
doesn't look like either team wants to commit to a fight right now. They're just kind of doing this weird teeter-totter thing from what it looks like.
Mm-hmm. You do see a little bit of a scrap going over in Fireside Jungle, but then other than that, oh no, Jungle Difference is chasing him down. I don't think it's going to come to anything, but it's keeping him from joining the fight. Oh, now JD is surrounded by enemies. What has
Yeah,
he done? What has he done?
He's surrounded. He's gonna get cleaned up by Dracul. So Dracul finds the lone Mercury in his jungle and is gonna find the kill that way. But 5D's is jumping in. That Sanctified Field followed by Dharmic Pillars. Everything is getting dropped. I'm a Monster comes in, finds Steve, and is gonna find a double kill as well for Shantastic. And Jay's not done, still walking down mid. Is gonna run a little low of health, so is gonna have to jump out, but the cavalry
still
has come back.
survives. Can you believe that? They did not punish the Jay after tanking tower for so long. And for that matter, Shantastic just playing so exceptional. You can see why he has so many stars on the ceiling.
Definitely, and a huge ultimate coming from Sean. A very good use of that Sanctified Field and Dharmic Pillars to completely keep them in that small box, so there's not too much to aim at for Sean. He just kind of is able to do it as that, and, you know, on top of that, they're claiming the Pyromancer as well, so. But they have to be careful here. Might get a little bit caught out by Dracul, but only takes a little bit of damage from Seal Woke, so Woke gets a little bit of damage numbers, but nothing really else on that.
Yeah, let's see the damage numbers with Shock just right at the top, followed by Jay versus the World. You know, just what you'd expect with Optic Blaster and Jay versus the World in the fights. They're going to be top damage, almost certainly, for most of the game. But Seal Woke on the Uller, number 3. He is doing Uller things. He's definitely hitting damage, getting it off. It's going to be a while before that Jingwei climbs up the ladder, and that requires her to get the space that hunters need when they're auto attackers.
Definitely, and the Jingwei, it seems like, is struggling right now to really be able to get in there to do that damage. So she's gonna have to try and get in there, find a way. And once that Jingwei starts popping, I think these fights will start to go a lot differently.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's anyone's game at this point, but the 5Ds have gotten a pretty substantial lead. And there's Steve having to use the ultimate from the Oleron as an escape. And you kind of hate that when maybe Fire Giant could be on the table.
Yeah, you never want to see that go down that early, especially when, you know, Fire is being looked at, being pulled by 5Ds right now, but Optic is hanging around as well. So
they're chasing the Optic. Fire Giant's about half. They need to decide if they're zoning or if they're fighting.
Optic getting pushed out, but finds his way back in. 5Ds gets the fire, but Optic decides to go in, ult, try to create a little bit of havoc. Is still pretty healthy though, so doesn't have to give up his life, unfortunately, but will have to give up the Fire Giant.
Yeah, Fire Giant on 5Ds with a 5k, 6k gold lead at this stage is really big. I think that they're almost a 7k at this point. So they just need to get the team together, pick it in a place to go, and just start hustling it. There's a lot of towers on the map. Maybe they should do something about that.
Yeah, I think this is pretty much the prime time to start knocking down those towers to really try and get some more gold, really solidify that lead, and it's just start walking it down. You know, start, you know, putting pressure anywhere you can. May as well just start grouping and death ball it up. But both teams picked, well, mainly the 5D starting to really start up those last items, especially getting the last one finished right now for Jay with that Mantle of Discord. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really comes down to you know, what are they going to do with this power spike? What are they going to do with the advantage that they've got? It's not so much of a lead that it's going to be, you know, earth-shattering or unstoppable, so they've got to play in a coordinated way. But it's enough of a lead that they've got something going for them. The answer is they're going to go for the Primal Fury, just stretching out that lead a little bit more.
That's it, and that's the name of the game. I think that's what they're looking to do, and they're doing it in a very slow and calm way almost. You know, it doesn't look like they're too stressed in what to push or what they want to do. I think they're playing a lot better together this game than they were last, like the first game, I believe.
Yeah, no, I think they are. In fact, I would say each game has seen the 5Ds playing better and better. I had some serious doubt of their ability to even pull out the second game after a bad siege in the first. But they clearly learned from that, and they're starting to play. And the things that we're seeing in this game are the things that were successes in the second game. They clearly learn from how they play. They learn how the enemy team plays, and they work around that.
Definitely, and that's a big difference maker here. As from what we're seeing, they're walking down. They're getting a lot of these T2s, T2 and mid just falling now, but they're gonna have to claim a T1 and then a T2 on the right side, and then they can really start attacking these Phoenixes.
Mm-hmm. Well, so then the question is, what do the Rabbits have to do to be able to stem the tie and not let this game slip from their fingers?
I think they got to go one at a time. I think right now they're getting completely zoned off by Jay versus the world right now on that left side while they were all going for that tower. So I think if they can find that one lone and try and just completely drop everything, pick them, and then go from there, I think that's the best place to start. You got to go for the small victories before you can get the big victories.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's well said. And one of the things that their team comp is built around, they're very good at doing individual target damage. They just need to find an individual target. And unfortunately, Jay vs. World is making it hard because he is more than one individual target by himself.
Yeah, in what case he feels like he's 4 people at some times. So I definitely think that they need to try and surround maybe a squishy, like maybe they can start with like Dracul or even if they find Weepson sleeping as well. I don't think Sean is your target. I think he's heavily guarded and he has a lot in his kit to be able to self-peel and get himself out. So I think it's either got to be Dracul or Weepson, and I think Dracul is going to fit the bill a bit better.
Yeah,
As
I think it's going to be hard to crack the egg that is the 5Ds right now. Scylla and Jingwei both have such good escape options that being able to dive in without finding yourself locked in with a Nemesis, Kakula, and Ganesh combo surrounding you, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really hard to dive this particular backline.
Yep, I have to completely agree with you. And yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to go about that. They're kind of stuck in a really rough spot right now. And if they can look for that key pick, I think they have to take that and kind of run with it from there. But getting stuck here as CL Woke finds himself in a little bit of trouble, is able to jump out and just completely walk away. So is going to get away from that potential danger. But they're still looking for a prime target here as Optic goes in, is going to get cut though, and is going to get dropped completely. Jay versus the world is going to find that kill, and he didn't even have a chance. He didn't even have a say to get out of that. They looked at him, and he was basically dead. And right now, 5D's is picking up that fire giant, actually turned to enhanced now, and just Jay
Wild
is
how fast that shock died. I could have sworn I saw him channeling his ult, and his ult's clearly not on cooldown, so I think he was killed before it could go off.
Definitely, and he's still completely zoning them all as Jay versus the world sitting in mid is completely pushing them out and looking towards this mid Phoenix right now as they look to walk it down. So here they come. It'll start sanctified field being dropped by Steve. He's going to try and pressure them out as best as he possibly can. Retribution is taken back on Steve, but they are still fully grouped 5-manning in towards this middle bird as Darmic Killers is dropped. The middle bird is dropped. Down. Here it comes. I'm a Monster is looking, but Dracul is going to find one onto Steve, and they are walking down the mid, looking like Phoenix or Titan is getting looked at, but they're still trying to deal with the front line of the Wabbits as they get pushed back to left side Phoenix, and that's going to be looked at towards their attention now. This gets dropped immediately almost, and they're going to go back to back to square one basically as they're walking down, maybe looking towards this right side Phoenix next. Want to drop all the Phoenixes before they look towards that Titan.
Yeah, this is good, clean play. They could go for end, but they know that they've got a quick and easy Phoenix, and there's nothing that the Rabbits can do about it. They get one more kill in the process. At this point, I think that the game has got to be over. The 5Ds have picked up so much momentum. They're at the Titan. They're burning it. It's nearly dead.
And
And
it's gone.
that is it.
With 2 quick pickups on Seal, Woke, and Optic, the Titan's going to fall, and 5Ds are going to claim this set 2-1 over the Wabbits.
What an excellent comeback from the 5Ds, being down the first game after just an unfortunate siege, learning from that mistake, and then playing every siege perfectly from then on. That really shows why the 5Ds won this first game in our Season 2 Challenger Division.
Definitely. And they were very well composed game 3 as well. I definitely like the idea of taking the foot off the gas a little bit instead of going for the end to take those last 2 birds to just make the last push just that much easier for the
Yeah,
5Ds.
a lot of self-control, a lot of team coordination. That's the sort of thing that wins games. That's what you like to see. And a really well executed team comp, I gotta say.
Definitely. I think the comp played exactly the way we thought it was gonna go. The Dharmic pillars were gonna set up for the Scylla to do her damage within the I'm a Monster and crush, and J 31k damage was putting in absolute work through this soul land and was able to just completely terrorize the back line and
He
didn't really
absolutely
have.
was. And
Yeah.
he was not against a slouch either. Optic Blaster, a very strong solo laner, but we really do see in the numbers the real impact that Jay had.
Yeah, and he did a lot for his team, and that's kind of why, like in my opinion, I think I'm gonna give him the MVP of that set for his team.
Well, I'd
Or
like
for
to hear it from the man himself. Shantastic has joined us so that we can do a quick interview with the captain of his team. Shantastic, what do you think about the 5Ds so far?
5Ds. We're kicking ass, taking names. And the first game was rough. It was close. And then we definitely found what we needed to do in the second game. Shout out to Dracul for getting that pick on a Wheelix. That was the kill that sealed that game. And then the last game, we knew we had late game, and we just made sure to not give Merc any early momentum, and we just rolled it.
Fantastic. What were the comms like after the first game? Did you guys talk about what you needed to do different?
Yeah, we had told them, we were talking about, like, first of all, Tiamat was a massive problem. We got Tiamat out in the second and third game, and we needed to make sure that we had um a better jungle pick. Our jungle knew that he kind of dropped the ball, and he definitely made up for it game 2 and game 3. And comms, we were making sure people were warding. We were making sure we were reeling people in if they were diving too far. And we just kind of stuck together when it mattered.
Well, we were really impressed with your play and really impressed with the dynamic changes that you made into the second and third game. They were close games, a lot of good play from both teams, definitely. But you guys did what it was required to pull out those wins. Um, you know, yeah.
Yeah,
Why don't we go ahead and hear from some of the other players that were in the team? It looks like we've got Dracul, and is that also Jay joining us?
that is our fantastic solo and
Yeah, I'm
jungle.
the solo.
Hey man, listen, lights out play from you. A lot of really bold plays where you got down to 1 HP and stayed under towers all day. How are you feeling in those games? Were you feeling like you were making the difference that you wanted to?
Yeah, I was just carrying my team, Just got to carry my team.
Well, certainly well done. You made a lot of space for your carries to be able to get their damage off, and you got in there and made it a hard time uh, for them. And we were just saying, Optic's a great solo laner, but you made it look easy.
Yeah, I'm just keeping up the pressure with the column pick,
Hmm.
just zoning them all out.
Well, turning our attention to Dracul, we saw you progressively get better each game in this set. What was the inflection point for you? How did you make the decision to go to the Bakasura, to go to the Nemesis, and what do you feel like that did for your gameplay?
Just game one, we were heavily wanting to go for CC sort of rotation, hence the second pick. But it just didn't work. I was getting a bit tilted game one, so game two, I just sort of fell back a bit, went into a more hyper farm mode on the backer, and didn't sort of take risks that I didn't need to, and just basically reset myself after game one rather than letting the tilt and come over after a bad performance by me. But it felt well going back into the jungle because I mean I'm not sure if you're aware, but I was this is me going back into the jungle after being support for 2 years, so I'm not actually a jungle main at the moment. So going with the performance I've played tonight, it felt pretty well.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't know it from your play in these last couple of games. And I got to say, in the second game, when you got the 1v1 kill on Jungle Difference, who's known for being a very good mechanical player and was on one of his signature gods, that was very much the opening the floodgates for the rest of your team. So I'd say that you did a really good job and were very impactful.
Yeah, that pick definitely mattered. Game two, we all even said after game that getting that Wheelix pick was what we needed to end basically, because he was just such a menace on it. And I saw the Wheelix looking in mid, and Neath ulted me just as I beads for to engage. So luckily the beads actually pre-beads the Neath ult, which would have killed me if the stun hit. But those beads saved me and managed to help me finish off the Wheelix.
Perfect.
Well,
In between
yeah.
games, in between games one and two, what was the reset you had to give yourself game one to be able to go into game two and just kind of be a helper in the difference maker versus game one where yeah, you if there were moments where it felt like you were doing things but maybe not to the degree you were hoping for.
Yeah, I just sort of just completely reset it, acted like that game didn't happen, and acted like game two was game one. So just literally forgot the entire game, and just acted like basically nothing happened. Reset completely. With I got rid of the scoreboard straight away. Didn't want to look at it. Just reset my mind, sort of zoned out for like 5 minutes between games, and then just acted like it was a fresh set.
Well, that's a great way to look at it. A lot of people say Smite is as much mental as it is, the skill that comes from playing the game. So having a good attitude and being able to shake off any of the bad plays really can be impactful for the team.
Very
Yeah,
much
most
so.
certainly.
And
Well,
shout out to the other team if I may. They
yeah.
played a phenomenal set for sure. And that Kabrakan pick, we made sure to get that out of there. We did not want to deal with that again. He played a phenomenal Kabrakan, and even in game one, the stats, it was, what was it, maybe 36 to 35 or 26 to 25, with a 1,000 gold difference. Like, it was an extremely close game, and they played their hearts out for sure. So shout out to Ravaging for a great set. We definitely appreciated the experience and going up against you guys.
Well said. Really nice sentiment, Sean, and absolutely something that I think that Zexy and I both keyed in on is that these two teams, we got to watch really competitive games between two very good playing teams, and that's something that we really like. It really adds to the high drama and the excitement of these competitive matches.
Very much so. And I also called when the end of the second game ended. I was like, yeah, I'll put my next paycheck that they're gonna ban ESET off rip, and ESET was gone off the table. So
Absolutely.
it was a very good set, and I can't wait to play the next teams, and I hope everybody does good in their first week of the challengers.
Yeah, just as an aside, I really enjoyed seeing you on the Scylla. I feel like you showed that's why it's one of your favorite picks.
12 stars for a reason, baby.
That's right. Well, with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the cast. We got to see a couple of really great games from a couple of really great teams. Thank you so much, Sean, Dracul, and Jay vs. the World for joining us for the cast. I've been Nathan DePaulo. Zexagon, why don't you send us off?
And yeah, I guess that's all it for tonight, ladies and gents. So once again, my name is Zexagon, and this has been HFDL Season 2, and we are signing out. Have a good night, y'all.